wanted to sort of remove the stigma or the taboo of something I had said that I heard or read somewhere that was very helpful for my personal life, and I'm doing way better than I was before. Um, so when someone makes a joke, it's always meant to be funny, just to make you laugh. It's just a joke. There are times when humor is not really a good thing. Um, through all the good, like I'm not the one that you should be asking for forgiveness or whatever. I mean, obviously forgiveness is given whether people give it or not. Um, so the thing about it is that I would find something in my personal spiritual journey of life, personal time, meditation, prayer, and stuff that was very helpful. Helpful. There were things that were like almost close to being what you would call an obsession. Um, things that I was doing because they were so amazing and beautiful and mesmerizing. Things that I'd never seen my whole life or experienced my whole life. Um, that yeah, that kind of thing can become sort of an obsession. Now, when you come from the place where I've come from, having been exposed to drug addiction, terrible trauma and pain and suffering and throughout your life, then it seems like a good exchange, a good trade. It's like if you're trading one addiction for another, there's a fine line somewhere in there where it's like you traded this addiction for this addiction. It's not a bad addiction. Your addiction is being close to God or being a good person, being nice to people, being polite, expressing yourself in upper scale mannerisms. That's not a bad addiction. I don't have a whole lot of money. I don't have a whole lot of stuff. I got the notion that, act like you do. Just act like you do. Act like you are a rich man. Because while I agree with some of the Bible verses as far as like the richest man in the world has all the riches of a soul that is one with his heart and his mind. And I'm not necessarily speaking about myself, although I have experienced great riches of the soul, the heart, and been put in positions where I could just comfort somebody with good words, peaceful vibes, a person that was in a place of suffering. So when the very thing that I found to me was like sacred, beautiful, wonderful thing, and then I saw jokes about it like it was some kind of cartoon or TV show, I have to admit it kind of pissed me off a little bit. You know what I mean? It was like, and I only refer to this because it was sort of something that pissed me off a little bit. A joke on a cartoon about Michael J. Fox and his Parkinson's disease. And he was shaking really bad, and it was like, that's not really that funny to me personally. I don't know Michael J. Fox, but I don't think it's that funny when somebody's that sick or whatever and they're making jokes about it. And I guess with a psychic change or a change in your spiritual demeanor, your mental perception, certain things become unacceptable to you. Just like I don't make fun of people because they're homeless or dirty, I don't think it's really funny personally, It's more, to me, it's more honorable to think to yourself, it's kind of sad. It's not fucking funny. It's not, oh wow, look at that guy. He's so dirty because he's homeless and he don't have money. He's too sick to work. If that's the kind of generation that we're coming into, then we should be ashamed of ourselves as parents or the elders. They should be ashamed of themselves. It's disappointing. Why would a kid think it's funny that some dude's homeless? That could be you someday. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to be mean at all. It was just when you experience a spiritual change or whatever, when your life changes so dramatically from here, And here you begin to see things the way that they were meant to be seen. So I said all that to say that sense gratification of a spiritual nature. This is Egyptian musk. Got it like $2 at the dollar store. Um, so when you have a bad memory, and believe me, this is the weird part. This came from a book Aleister Crowley wrote. When you have a bad memory, there are certain things that you can do that tune your senses in sort of a higher sense. I was doing some things that had to do with a blessing of prosperity on some people around me because I didn't know if it would be good if I blessed myself with prosperity. I almost felt like it would be better to bless people around me because of having like a past of bad karma. Um, After having many attempts at transcending karma, as far as like you increase the potency of the things that you do that are good for other people, then you have transcended bad karma. You will no longer pay the consequences of karma that you no longer have any part of, things that you don't do anymore. Karma is not decided by people or groups of people. Karma or dogma are tools, constructs of the mind to make things more understandable. So if you think that karma is not a part of your religion or you don't believe in it, that's cool, whatever. Because all you're going to do is change the name of it and call it something else. Karma is like repentance. You know what I mean? You would not have to repent unless it was wrong. If it wasn't wrong, then you wouldn't have to feel like a consciousness of guilt or shame or conviction. Okay? Um, to me, this is the same as being accused, tried, and imprisoned for something that somebody just set you up to get out of trouble for. You know what I mean? This is why people say that the law isn't always on our side, because the fact that I lived kind of dirty and I was around people that were breaking the law, in their eyes, it kind of makes you just like them, or you're like them because you're around them. If those people were actually in society, they would understand that it's impossible to not be around people that occasionally break the law. You know what I mean? Like, the gravity of the way they break the law may vary. You know what I mean? Like, a guy may cheat on his taxes or whatever it is. It's because in the eyes of what it was I was dealing with, none of that has anything to do with it. You know what I mean? I chose to not do things that I knew were wrong because I didn't want to do things that were wrong. I wanted to be a better person. And I've been getting a lot better. You know what I mean? It was greatly disappointing when I knew that my brothers and my friends could have the same things. And because of their past, it was almost so tightly wound around them, their past, that they couldn't live for the future or for the present time. Like one of my friends used to break the law, used to be in a criminal things, and he decided he didn't want to do that anymore. And I have a lot of respect for someone that wants to do that, wants to change their life. There are certain entities in this world that don't care if you're wanting to change your life or not. They don't have a lot of patience or tolerance. Amongst those same organizations are people who do respect and support people who are trying to change their lives. The authority figures are set in those places for that reason. They're not set in that place to keep you breaking the law with their tightly wound rules and litigation of things that you don't even do anymore. Judges and lawyers are not meant to constrain in that way. You know what I mean? I understand that now. And this is, mind you, after being around a lot of people that were kind of like not very trusting of the government or authority figures and stuff, and they weren't even doing anything wrong. They were just around people that had been greatly persecuted for just trying to make money. You know what I mean? So I still don't have any, like, what do you call it, um, real opinion of that, because it's like you get a 10-year-old boy who's lost his family, he don't have anybody anymore. Somebody comes up to him and says, hey man, 10 years old, I know you can't get a job and everything. I'll give you this right here and you can sell it and make money. That kid doesn't care if it's right or wrong. That kid wants to eat and have a place to sleep. So it isn't necessarily a criminal problem. It is a financial, economical problem. You understand? That 10-year-old boy wouldn't be fucking feeling like he should sell drugs if there were jobs. You know what I mean? If there were more resources for these kind of people, they wouldn't be more prone to just go selling drugs because they can make more money, or they can, you know what I mean? That kind of stuff wouldn't happen. So it is a national problem. It isn't a criminal problem. These are the reasons why a lot of people have accepted that the prison systems are not meant to make you into something better. Maybe at one time they were. The prison systems basically just kind of stop your time and just put you somewhere for a little while so you can get out and do whatever you want again. You know what I mean? Because I know a lot of people that are not really afraid of prison. You know what I mean? And they can make it harder and meaner. That's not going to change the mentality of the person, of the human. You know what I'm saying? So the things that I was trying to make record of and share with people are ways to make their lives seem more valuable, instead of staying in this mindset that you're insignificant and you're not as important as some other people. Because understanding that you are important as anyone else means that you are important. It means that you are important. Every single person on this earth, from the dirty homeless dude that's on the street strung out on dope, to the man that's got more money than he knows what to do with, that doesn't have a single friend in the world because he's afraid everybody's trying to rip him off. You're just as important as anyone else. You know what I mean? Your opinion matters just as much as anyone else. So all these things, they were sort of circulating through consciousness, you know, and I knew that some of them couldn't stay because they weren't right. They were very wrong. They were false. What they call like false prophecies. Like this is going to happen in 15 or 20 years. They've been doing that for years. You know what I'm saying? They have done that before, and most people probably already know that. They have perpetuated this madness of an apocalypse over and over again. Now, I will say that I am a believer in the Bible and Jesus Christ. And it does say that when the end comes, you will not know. Only the Father knows. Only God knows. So that being said, people speculating about the end, it's not up to them. You know what I mean? It's not up to rules and books and religions. It's up to God, God alone. You know what I mean? So I was only doing that to sort of ease people's fear of this end of the world, apocalypse, nuclear, Holocaust type stuff. Because we already have enough going on in this country and in this world without having to worry about all this supernatural stuff that doesn't have anything to do with the present time, even though it very much does. So that was part of the reason why I was promoting certain things, is I was trying to make myself more financially palatable, trying to learn about marketing and stuff like that, because that's what America's all about. Anyway, Wayne's World, party time, excellent, yeah. So those are, hey, look at this one. This is a product I have not used yet. I've had it for about 25 years. Oh, I'm just kidding. Anyway, what I was saying is that since gratification put into a proper balance, or in the way it's supposed to be used, it's like something very relevant to my own personal life and my walk with God, was connected to a smell. A smell, okay? Egyptian musk, dragon's blood, different things that I had picked up along the way, that these things, if you look The way they're defined, they're used for certain things. They're, like Egyptian musk is like for love or self-love. Dragon's blood is kind of the same thing. Strength, power, love. So when I found more of them, when I had forgotten some things that I had meant to write about, but I wasn't in a condition to write, I thought, well, I remember a few things about that time. I remember Egyptian musk. I remember Ganesha, something I was reading about Ganesha, the elephant. Anyway, there were a few different things, a dream catcher, through spiritual tools and things that I was using. So it actually worked because I remembered pretty much every little moment of that time when I had those different types of oil. And I was saying that about the stigma of essential oils because people began to make jokes about it, maybe trying to lighten the the obsession with new stuff. I think is what it was, to be a little more respectful of people for their way of dealing with something they don't yet understand. So, like you see these guys just like changing their whole demeanor, their whole mode of living, the way they talk, how they look physically, because they found something very good that works for them. You know what I mean? So it's okay to make jokes about it. Like I'm not so sensitive I can't take a joke. It's just that when somebody's like lived their whole life terribly in the worst type of living you could think of, and then they feel like they're a man again, like they have some strength about them. They're trying to like develop some respect or trust around people, and the person continuously feels like they're being mocked or deceived, or they're the punchline of every joke of different people they meet. No matter who you are, eventually that's going to make you be like, you know what, maybe I don't want to be around people. Maybe I changed my mind. Because it doesn't matter how strong you are, eventually you're going to be like, you know what, I don't want to talk to you guys anymore. I'm I'm dealing with a lot right now. I don't have time for stupid petty jokes about my demeanor or the way I talk or the way I sing or whatever. I don't have time for that. If you don't like it, don't listen to it. See, that's what could have happened. I could have got that angry and that bitter about it instead of just being like, I don't have to revert to a book every time because I know that book is relevant to what it was that was being said. That's awesome. I got a message right now while I'm talking. It says, fuck me, baby. Anyway, say how easy it is to get distracted. Anyway, what I was saying is that um, it isn't so much, that I feel like sometimes I'm the butt end of a joke because of being different or strange or approaching things in my own way. It is that when I feel like that, it makes it hard for me to be a part of people that I want in my life. It's the only way I can think of to say that is that um, I like being myself. I like being unique, original, different. You know what I mean? But I don't want to be so original and different that people don't know how to be around me or talk to me. I like solitude. I like sitting in my room and kind of just watching movies and, thinking, writing. But it has sort of presented a problem in my life as far as like there are things that I do that I've discovered on my own free time that I have yet to find anybody to talk to about it. As far as like, this and this happened when I did this method of dealing with this. I was wondering if you knew what it meant or how to move forward or how to proceed. Um, I've yet to find anybody to talk to about stuff like that because sometimes people that do things that are like sort of taboo, they choose not to talk about it in public because they're too afraid of being mocked and deceived. I'm not one of those guys, you know what I mean? Like, I don't care. Because usually the people that mock or deceive are the ones that don't even really do it or don't understand it. But sometimes those same people are the ones that I like, care about, you know what I mean? So it makes it a little difficult, like. So, that's part of why I was making this video. Is that I felt like every attempt I made at like financial prosperity that was for me, not for all these other people. Not that that's wrong, because it isn't wrong. It's good to sort of try to give people money blessings, because the same thing that a priest does for a man, a person who is not an ordained priest can also do. There's no reason why you can't. You can talk to God the same way a priest does, or a preacher. Um, and I have a lot of respect for preachers and priests. I would never say that I don't. Um, I'm not against religion. I'm not anti-religion. I'm not anti-God. I'm none of those things. You know what I mean? I'm just not really into religion personally. So so it's different when it's like the word prosperity or wealth is greatly misinterpreted in spiritual sense and physical sense. Because spiritual wealth has nothing to do with physical wealth. Spiritual wealth has nothing to do with having a lot of money, a lot of stuff, a lot of really cool friends and stuff. But no matter what anybody says, you can have both. You can have spiritual and physical wealth. There are people that do have that. So I understand why the person posed the question. And I was only disappointed that just because that person posed that question, I got stuck in that stupid paradigm for a year and a half, maybe more. Um, so I felt like it was a lot of wasted time, that the person could have just stopped and kind of explained why he said that. You can either have a lot of friends or a lot of money. I don't agree. You can have anything you want, really. It's your choice. It's your life. And I think it was more of a rhetorical question. So I'm not judging the guy. I'm just saying that for whatever reason, whatever was wrong with me at the time, I could not work myself out of that little fucking riddle. And yeah, sometimes I say things, and the things that I'm saying have something to do with something else. And if you don't know what it is, it's probably because you're not supposed to. Because you can ask me, I'll tell you. You know what I mean? I ain't got nothing to hide from you. I really don't. Even some of the people that claim they inadvertently almost poisoned me or killed me with stupid things, I'm still not mad at you. I got nothing against you. I'm not going to do to you what you tried to do to me, because I'm not like you. And I don't mean that as disrespect. I mean that as that was a learning lesson. Not because I'm scared of you, not because I'm worried you're going to do it again, because I'm not like you. I don't do stuff like that. You know what I mean? I just don't. I choose to be a better person. I choose to be not anything like that. I'm not doing anything like that. I never have, never will. So anyway, that was a part of my struggle, was that these are the same people that I sought to treat like brothers, and because I sought to treat them like brothers, they kept putting themselves over here instead of remaining right here. I don't look at them as brothers. I would never do to my own brother some of the things that they had chosen to do to me, or the way they talked about me, or gossiped about me, caused the problems for me to make their lives easier. I would never do that to any of my brothers. You can take it however you want, but that's 100% God's honest truth. I would never, ever, ever do something like that to my own brother, especially not for money. So anyway, there are worse things in this world than betrayal. You know what I mean? Like, especially from one of your own brothers or whatever. And my own brothers, my blood brothers, have never betrayed me in any way, shape, or form. Not one single time. I've never done that to them. So I needed to make record of it, because I know what brotherhood means. I know what the word brother means. And I know what the word balance means. I also know what the two phrases left and right wing extremist. I do not want any part of that. If I had accidentally got wrapped up in that somehow, I want out of it. I want no part of it. I've never been a left or right wing anything. I've always been just me. You know what I'm saying? I understand why someone would want to put themselves in that position to try to understand the different modes in life. Like a Democrat, Republican, different political views of government and reality. There's nothing wrong with wanting to understand that better. That's a reasonable, honorable thing to want to understand. There are people like me who don't have time to sit there and study all this shit, and they appreciate information from an honest person. So I felt like, regardless of who says, I honor your request for that type of information because I want you to know, because I know you're going to share it with people. It doesn't really matter. Everything that you need to know or want to know, most people, it's out there. The sad thing is you got to sort through the good and the bad and the true and the false for yourself. Because it's about 50-50 nowadays, you know. About half of it's not even real or true. It's just made up bullshit that somebody kind of speculated on something else that has nothing to do with what they were asking about. So just know this, you're not the only one. There are many people in this world right now who have wasted a lot of time trying to sort through the madness of their external lives just to reassert their life and something that they want for themselves, you know what I mean? And I only sought to help people. I never sought in any way, shape, or form to confuse people worse than they already are. I just want you to know that because I care about pretty much everybody that I meet. You know what I mean? Even if they're rude, disrespectful, mean, that's just a mode of living. That's an emotion. Doesn't mean you don't like me just because you had a bad day. You know what I mean? I would say that because I know that. So anyway, one thing I wanted to record in this video was that think about having a very small amount of money and think about how you could use that money. Think about the man who uses the small amount of money that he has for spiritual tools to strengthen the power of his spirit and his mind to lengthen his life. And then think about the other man who spends the small amount of money that he has just to appease some pleasure sense that he has. You know what I mean? Think about that for a second. Think the guy goes to a Wendy's and buys a cheeseburger because he's worked all week and he wants something to taste good. And then think about the guy that buys something that is not going to take any effect for a few months, a few days, maybe in a few years. It's a parable, and it's actually in the Bible also. Because the man who stored something up to make something more abundant is the more worthy one. The man who just bought something to please a sense, just because he wanted to feel pleasure for a second, cheated himself of the very pleasure that he already had within him. Like he didn't need that external thing to make him feel good. You know what I'm saying? That's the only reason I'm saying that. I'm not saying that to make you feel bad or make anybody feel bad. I'm saying that I found that parable in the Bible, that's why it was explained that way. It was described that way so that a person could work out a spiritual problem in their own way. Not to decrypt it, not to make it all secretive or anything like that. It's so that the person is allowed to walk their own path. You know what I mean? So they don't feel like they're controlled by something. They feel like they're being set free by the angel of peace and truth, which is, to me, the angel of peace is Christ. You will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. So if you learn the truth and you don't feel free, it's because it's not the truth. It's in the last few months, that's what I've discovered, is that if you find something that is painful and ugly to look at, and it makes you feel less free, then it's not the truth. Doesn't mean it isn't real, it isn't really happening. It just means that that's not the truth that you're looking for. Because the truth that you're looking for, that Christ was speaking of, is the one that no matter what your situation is, you still feel at peace. You still feel okay with your life. You still feel like, I'm not a bad person. I'm not going to be a bad person because of circumstances. So there's a lot more really good stuff in the Bible than people will allow themselves to see, because of the stigma of that one word, religion. So anyway, I wanted to make a record of it, and I love you guys. Peace. Peace.